Hi guys, welcome back to my channel where today I'm doing my look of the month video in my anniversary series. This is December's look. This series is where I take a look from a year ago and I recreate it with my current skill set. We are coming to the end of my series because this is, I think, the 11th video out of 12. And so to recreate this original look, I pulled out the Play It Jewel palette from ColourPop. And if you want to see what I did to get here, then don't go anywhere. If you've never been here before, hello, my name is Rachel. I'm a homeschooling stay-at-home mom. Love to play with color, love to play with eyeshadow, love to combine the two into a multiple video a week upload hobby. If you're interested in seeing that, I hope you'll consider subscribing before you go and hit the notification bell so you don't miss new videos. Now, without further ado, let's get going. Well, this is a great start. I just filmed the entire eye look without actually filming. So I am going to I'm going to do this eye to show you guys how I did this eye, and then we'll finish out the video. I'm sorry. I know it doesn't affect you in any way. I'm just slightly annoyed because my day didn't start off great. I wasn't feeling very well this morning, and I found myself crying in bed because I'm like, oh, I have several months of pregnancy left, and I just don't want to feel yucky for the rest of them. I don't know, it's just an emotional start to the day, and then to forget to press the record button and do an entire video that wasn't filming, it's annoying. Anyway, it's okay, it's okay. I am actually feeling a little better after having played with some color. So let's talk briefly about my Play It Jewel palette, which is the one that I've chosen to recreate December's look. This palette, I did customize. Above in the cards, I will share a video where I filmed the entire customization process. I had the So Very Lovely palette from ColourPop, and I've always forgot to use it, even though I really liked some of the shades in it. So when I got the Play It Jewel palette, which was a gift, I found that there were a couple too many neutrals. So because the pan sizes were the same, I decided to combine the two into a palette that I knew that I would use more. I did a whole video where I was swatching and comparing and like, well, this shade looks exactly like that shade, or this shade gets more use and that one doesn't. And if you want to see it, again, the video is linked above so you can watch that. But I made a notation on every shadow that is not original to this palette, but if it has two dots, like this one up here, it means that it's basically a dupe. So for example, this is originally the crystalline shade from Play It Jewel, and I replaced it with Lace Up from So Very Lovely. But when I swatched them next to each other, they looked the same. So when I'm using the Play It Jewel palette, I can go into any original shade or any shade that has two dots. And if you guys happen to be following along, you're going to get the same look. So that's what I'm going to do today. I already primed my eyes, obviously. I used the Glamlight Icing Primer in the shade White Frosting, and I'm just going to sort of hurry through this second eye because my little one just woke up. To start off with, I'm taking a dense blending brush from e.l.f. I'm going into the shade Peace Out. Now, I was saying, in the first time I recorded this video, I'm going to place this in my outer corner, and I'm going to deepen it slightly and also lighten it slightly. I was saying that I originally used the Ornate palette from ColourPop to create this look for December. I had bought the palette in my early days of eyeshadow before I had figured out what my own style and preferences were. And I liked it, but I never used it. So I decided to use it one more time and then pass it along. And that was this December look that you guys saw in the picture. Now, I had followed a tutorial from Angela Bright where she used the Ornate palette, but then she also dipped into a purple for the lower lash line, and I thought that was beautiful. So that's what I'm doing today as well. And I have a purple or two within this Play It Jewel palette that I can use to do that. Now with a smaller and pinch blending brush, I've got the shade Agate U, and I'm going to place this to buff out my outer corner. It's kind of a neutral look. It's not my preferred eyeshadow look generally, because I like something that's a lot more colorful and interesting. However, it is pretty, and I think it's looking nice on the other eye. So now I'm taking a large pencil brush and dipping into the shade Finest. This is a dark brown matte. It's the darkest brown in the palette. There are a couple other really, really dark tones, but they're more purple based. I was saying, again, the first eye, that I actually have had trouble with these last few looks of the anniversary series, December and January. I've had trouble finding looks that I really wanted to recreate because by that point in my journey, my skills had advanced to the next level. And while the looks that I was doing maybe were not the most incredible, they weren't super, super far from what I'm doing now in terms of style and aesthetic and color combinations. What I'm doing now is better. It's better executed, a little bit more creative. I have better technique overall. But what I was doing at that point, it wasn't bad, you know, it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad. And my idea for this series was to find looks that were pretty bad and recreate them with what I can do now, because then for you guys as viewers, but also for me as the creator, we get to see contrast, we get to see improvement, and that's very inspiring and exciting for me. So January and December's looks it was a little harder for me to find things that I wanted to recreate because I was like, they're really not that bad. I mean, they're not amazing, but they're not bad, you know? There was one other look that I considered doing, which was using the Sapphire palette from BH Cosmetics. I never liked the looks I got from that palette because the colors were wrong for me. That's why I ultimately ended up decluttering it. By the way, I have a clean blending brush, and I'm just working at these edges and doing small concentric circles to create the very, very soft cat eye sort of shape. It's not stark, it's just really light little circles to buff it out into nothing. Anyway, it was using the Sapphire palette, and I've considered recreating that look, but I actually had a subscriber request that I do a video where I show one eye using the tones and the technique that worked for me, and the other eye using the tones and techniques that don't work for me. And I thought that blue or dark purple would be a perfect example for that video because those are the colors that are tricky on my skin because I have blue undertones. So it's really easy for me to go the wrong direction with blue eyeshadow. And I thought that would be a good video idea, but I didn't want to do that as a look of the month because I don't, especially with my time constraints with the little children, I just have a small pocket of time to create a look. I don't want to do half of a good look and then a half bad look, a whole video, and then have to wash off one eye and redo the look for the rest of the day. You know, I just don't always have that kind of time with my children needing me. I do plan on doing that video. It's likely going to happen in January when my husband is out of town, because then I can film a video at nighttime when he's not home and the children are in bed and I have a much larger chunk of time. Anyway, all of that to say, that's why I didn't choose to redo that December look. So I picked this look simply because it wasn't very exciting, and I thought, well, I can at least do it with better technique and maybe make a slightly prettier final outcome. Now that's looking like it almost matches. Doing the lower lash line is going to bring in more shadow and depth. I will do the lower lash line in a few minutes and then we'll see if I've got it matched. Now I'm going to move on to the rest of the lid space. With my finger, I'm going to dip into the shade, what's it called? Can't see. It's called Reflect On. I like to apply ColourPop shimmers with my finger because I find that they generally apply quite nicely. This is great if you don't want much precision. I'm going to put this on the whole lid space starting at the inner corner and coming out to meet the mattes. And obviously I'm not going for precision, so I'll kind of let my finger angle up into the crease a little bit. It's just a bit of sparkle everywhere. Not going for anything too precise. This is not a complicated eye look. Then with the same finger, I'm dipping into the shade Optical. This is a much more yellow gold. I'm just placing this right on the edge of the shimmer into the matte. And the reason I'm bringing this color in is because I do think that the Ornate palette had some yellow tones in it, which have not yet been incorporated in today's look. So I just want to bring a hint of that, just a little bit. And then I will take my original blending brush, this one with no additional product, and just tap the matte into the shimmer. I'm taking whatever's on the brush and whatever is on my lid, working it back and forth just a little bit more. Now again, I'm not feeling very excited about this, but I'm going to add in some purple and that will help. I have a small pencil brush and I've dipped into the shade Surreal, which is a very dark purple matte, and I just flung it at myself. Oh my. I hope this day gets better from here. Surreal on a pencil brush. I'm going to start in my outer corner. I don't like to bring dark shadows all the way to my inner corner because I don't like the way that it sort of closes off my face. So I'm putting this Surreal shade on the first 2/3 of the lower lash line, but I started in the outer, which is where the shadow is darkest already. I'm going to make sure it buffs nicely into these beautiful dark brown mattes out here. And I love the way that the purple combines with the brown. Angela Bright's video was the reason I bought the Ornate palette because she did such a lovely look with it. I shouldn't have bought it, but again, it was very early in my journey before I had figured out my own style and the colors that I liked to use and even what worked on my skin. It was way in the beginning. Angela's video was super inspiring to me because of the way that she paired the richer brown, red, yellowy tones with the purple. It was very pretty. Now with an angled eyebrow sort of brush, I'm taking the shade Majesty, which is a royal purple shimmer, and I'm spraying that. And I'm going to take this and place it on every bit of purple that I just laid down. This is going to bring in a tiny bit more of a plummy sort of tone. because that purple was lovely, but it was a little more wine colored. And I want it to be more plum colored. So this Majesty shade is bringing in that plum tone, true purple color, you know? You're not seeing much of the sparkle, honestly, but that's okay. I do want to soften that lower lash line, so I've got a really fluffy and slightly pinched on one side, so it's crescent shaped, a blending eye brush from e.l.f. I think they call it a detail crease brush. I've dipped into the shade Agate U, and I'm just hitting the very, very edge of this purple tone. You could do this with a translucent face powder, you could do it with a neutral, you could also do it with a clean brush. Its purpose is simply to soften that lower lash line a little bit so it's not as stark. You see how adding in that color really smoked out this side more to match this side, so I feel like I'm matching better now. But it didn't look that way before I laid down the lower lash line color. And finally, for an inner corner, I'm taking a small flat blending brush. I'm going into the shade Crystalline, and I'm spraying it. And I'm going to place this as an inner corner highlight and onto the lower lash line to meet the purples. So it'll cover the inner third or so of the lower lash line. It's a lovely inner corner highlight, and I really like how it brightens up, because you can have dark colors everywhere else, but brightening the inner corner is my personal preference. I just like the way it looks and the way it livens up the face a little. I'm sorry if my angle is all off. I don't usually film this eye, so I'm twisting funny in my chair. And with whatever's left on this brush, I'm kind of going back and forth into the purple, because I don't have a lighter purple in this palette. And if I did, I totally would have put it on the inner lower lash line, but because I didn't have it, I'm just dragging over whatever I can get with this brush. And it's carrying a bit of the light color into the dark and a bit of the dark color into the light. Now I think just for kicks, I'm going to take whatever shimmery product is left on this flat brush that I used for the inner corner, and I'll just throw it under my brow bone. Sometimes I like to highlight the brow bone. It's been a while, actually. I think I did it in one recent video, and I was like, oh, that was kind of fun. I don't know, total whim. I'm gonna go off camera and finish up, and I'll be back in a second to show you how it looks with everything else. All right, here we go. Here's how the final look turned out after adding in some mascara. In my waterline, I used this shade called Plum Smash from ColourPop's Creme Gel Liners. On my lips, I am wearing, it's in my hand. The NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Cranberry Pie. And on my face, I have the Nomad Around the World Highlighter in the shade Kofa Ngan Moonlight. This is discontinued. Everything is linked down below. Even if it's discontinued, I make a notation that you can't get it anymore, although, you know, you might be able to get it secondhand. Anyway, this one's super pretty. I don't know if you can see, but it's a beautiful blue-purple iridescent. It's so lovely. And that's everything. I didn't put on anything as bronzer or contour or blush or anything. I just didn't feel like it. So that's the whole look. I do think that it's pretty. Again, taking something that's more neutral, like the whole lid space is definitely more neutral. But then throwing on this interesting pop of color on the lower lash line, that's my style of neutral, because I almost never want to take the time to do a neutral look. I want to bring color into my day. And I love the way that Angela Bright paired purple with this color story, because I think it really livened up the look and made it something different and special. There you go, my friends. That is December's look of the month. There is just one more video in this series. January's video is coming, well, in a couple of weeks. I appreciate you being with me and hanging out. I hope you like the look. I hope you've enjoyed the series. Please comment below if you have enjoyed the series now that we're coming to the end of it, because I'm always interested in feedback as far as, do you like my series ideas, or are they tired or old or unnecessary? I appreciate you being here. I hope you liked it. Remember to like and subscribe before you leave. Hit the notification bell for more videos, because there are more coming. And until I see you guys in my next video, I hope you have a great day. Bye!